Looked like Pete Carroll spoke with the media about Shedeur Sanders, pretty much not taking him and this matchup they got to face against the Browns guys for this one here. Pretty much 24 hours away from Shedeur Sanders making his NFL debut as a starter, but we have to go back some months ago and talk about this draft. If there's one team that I know Shedeur Sanders want to get back on, it's definitely the Las Vegas Raiders. Hell, when he was in the draft process, I thought definitively he was going to Vegas. He was out there looking at cards, from my understanding. Could he be looking for a crib out there? I don't know.
This secret could ruin everything. And apparently, the Raiders are sweating bullets because an insider just leaked the real reason Pete Carroll said nope to Shedeur Sanders. And trust me, it's wilder than anything happening on the field. What did he hear? Why did he bail? Let's dive in.
Yeah, we visited with him, and I talked to him a little extra and was just trying to understand, where he's coming from, and realizing that he'd been under enormous pressure growing up, and all that, just naturally with, the pops that he had and all that. And I'm just curious how he's handled it and dealt with it. He's got a really, really good outlook on the world and how he deals with all of the stressors and all of the things that comes his way. I really liked him. He's a piano player, he had well-versed, and I was impressed with the kid.
Honestly, it might explain why Shedeur Sanders is walking into his NFL debut like a man who circled one team on the calendar with a red marker and wrote Revenge Day next to it.
But I do know for sure he was out there looking at cars. Now, with that being said, they passed on him like 3-4 times, bro. Like Tom Brady was one of his mentors growing up. We just couldn't believe from the outside looking in that the Raiders of all teams passed on him so many times that they did. Now, this is Shedeur time to show them what they pass up on. Now, with that being said, Pete Carroll sat down with the media.
Before he became the most talked about rookie in the league, there was a whole draft day saga that the Raiders probably wish everyone would forget. But unfortunately for them, Shedeur did not forget, and neither did the internet.
We know that the Las Vegas Raiders are hosting the Cleveland Browns, and we got to get into it. Pete Carroll speaks about Shedeur Sanders, and Sean King says some interesting things about what he would like to see from Shedeur Sanders tomorrow against the Las Vegas Raiders. And one of the teams that people thought may would draft Shedeur Sanders was the Las Vegas Raiders because of the relationship with Tom Brady, with him becoming minority owner.
A few months back, Shedeur was basically acting like Las Vegas was already his second mailing address. The man was out there looking at cars, strolling through dealerships like a millionaire on a commercial break.
I'm going to need Kevin to come out here and do the same thing, keep the same energy that he been having with Dillon Gabriel. Just like when Dillon was out here and it didn't look so great and you was trotting out there in your post game and saying, hey, that's my starting quarterback next week. You need to go out there and you need to tell the media, like, without any hesitation, Shedeur Sanders is my starting quarterback next week against the San Francisco 49ers.
That's it.
Anything outside of that, man, you BSing us, you BSing your team, everybody else. Don't play the games, right?
Yeah.
Don't play the mind games with the opponent, none of that, because you ain't do that with Dillon Gabriel. Come out here after this man just did what he did and let everybody know this is your starting quarterback moving forward.
Some folks swear he was scouting houses too, and honestly, who could blame him? The stars were aligning. Tom Brady was loosely connected. The Raiders desperately needed a quarterback who wasn't held together by hope and mild prayer, and every sign pointed toward Shedeur landing in the desert with sunlight bouncing off his jewelry like a solar power plant. But then draft day hit, and the Raiders turned into the friend who keeps saying, yeah, I'll be there, then never shows up.
Las Vegas Raiders head coach Pete Carroll had some very, very interesting things to say about Shedeur Sanders in the pre-draft process. Now, a lot of people thought that the Raiders would draft Shedeur Sanders. Not only did they not draft Shedeur, they passed on Shedeur Sanders 5 separate times in the draft. They had multiple picks in the 3rd round, all types of stuff. They didn't want Shedeur Sanders, even with the relationship Shedeur has with Tom Brady. Pete Carroll spoke on why.
They passed on Shedeur once, twice, 3, maybe 4 times, depending on how you count the dysfunction. It was wild. Analysts looked confused. Fans looked betrayed. Shedeur looked like someone who had just been ghosted by a team that practically flirted with him all offseason. But here's where it gets good, because just recently, Pete Carroll sat down with the media and suddenly became the most expressive man in football history.
I remember the days.
So hold on. A guy making his first start, and that's all he get. Great job.
Well,
he don't get no game ball?
Nah, he don't get no game ball, Unc. That wasn't his pick. That's not what they want. Listen, didn't Shedeur make history tonight?
Yes.
First Browns quarterback as a rookie to start and win after what?
But you got to think about it, Ocho. They've had 42 starting quarterbacks since 1999.
Yeah, listen.
That ain't worth the game ball, Ocho. I ain't saying you got to pick the man up on it. I ain't saying the team need to pick him up on his shoulders and carry him off the field. I mean, he made two big. Shedeur played his ass off.
The second shotter's name comes up. Pete acts like someone had asked him to confess to a crime on live television. Stares, pauses, smiles, the whole emotional alphabet, which immediately tells you one thing: something happened. And when Pete actually starts talking about Shedeur, it gets even funnier, because the man sounds like he had nothing but glowing memories from their pre-draft meeting. He talks about Shedeur's confidence, his maturity, his poise under pressure.
I think he owns like 5%, 10% stake in Raiders, but the Raiders passed on Shedeur 7 times during the 2025 NFL draft, and Pete Carroll had a lot of interesting things to say about Shedeur Sanders. He spoke with the media briefly for about 40 seconds. Let's take a listen.
You mean to tell me that Shedeur Sanders was not a starter the whole time? He's literally finally making his first NFL start today versus the Raiders. He's going to try and do something that no Cleveland quarterback is.
Even mentions how well-rounded the kid is, like he was reviewing a college resume. At this point, you're thinking, so where did it all go wrong? Did Shedeur steal his parking spot? Did he hit the wrong piano note? What happened? But then Pete shifts gears, starts talking about his current team. Suddenly, everything becomes very clear. He mentions inconsistent offense, not being able to run the ball, protection issues, play calling chaos, injuries, players still developing, even though the season is practically halfway over.
Shedeur Sanders, after becoming the first Browns rookie to win his initial start since Eric Zaire in 1995 under Bill Belichick, when the Ravens were the Browns. And I know, Browns fans don't
Can't we just keep it like they're the Browns?
Ravens were the Browns. The Ravens were the Browns.
But the Browns were the Browns, though.
The Browns is the Browns. But the Browns were the Browns yesterday. The Browns didn't exist for 3 years because that team moved out of town and changed its name.
Basically, Pete is looking around at his roster and realizing he's holding a Jenga tower with half the pieces missing. And you want him to put a rookie quarterback into that? Absolutely not. Then someone asks him about negativity around the organization, and Pete practically admits he's never coached a team this bad. He says it politely, but you can hear it between the syllables. This man has been coaching since the dinosaurs were in shoulder pads, and even he's like, wow, this is new.
You know what he showed more than anything? Is them BS narratives and tropes about that man's intelligence, about that man's moxie, about his ability to lead men, about his ability to understand and think the game. You running around out here talking about he couldn't get in and out of the huddle. I saw him get in and out of that huddle and manage the game beautifully today. What I saw today, I saw people gravitating to him. I saw people, when there was an opportunity to fold up, I saw people rallying around. Big time throws on the run, get hit, jersey all stained up. You have 2 seats, sir.
Suddenly, the picture becomes crystal clear. Pete didn't pass on Shedeur because he didn't like him. He passed on Shedeur because he liked him too much to ruin his career. Nobody wants to draft a promising rookie only to feed him to a defensive line with a grudge and a clear schedule. Pete basically looked at his offensive line, his scheme, his depth chart, his medical ward, and went, nope, not doing that to the kid.
Shedeur Sanders completes 11 of 20 passes for 209 yards, a touchdown, and an interception.
Yeah.
But the defense was the story, and it was so funny when this game started. Jason Garrett said, "Are the Raiders playing the University of Miami?"
Right, I know it did look like that with them running out of the tunnel. It certainly did with the white helmet. But hey, Shedeur looked damn good. Shedeur did.
Meanwhile, the Raiders kept passing on Shedeur like they were allergic to talent, and now they have to watch him debut while they pretend this was all part of the master plan. So here we are. Shedeur finally gets his moment. The Raiders get their reminder. Pete gets to act like he made the most humane football decision in years.
Was it as good as Shedeur Sunday? Shout out to my boy. Got his first official start, man. Got the dub over the Raiders yesterday, 24-10. Yes. Shedeur had 209. A TD had an INT as well. But the first Browns QB to win his first start since 1999.
Damn. They've been horrible for a long time, bro.
That's a long time, bro.
26 years, bro.
The energy just felt different from the team.
The vibes was high.
Like, you see Myles Garrett and them smiling and stuff.
He ain't want my boy to shine.
Rolling out the pocket, say he ain't mobile. Bomb.
And Shedeur, he gets the chance to show everyone exactly what they passed on. Let the revenge tour begin, and if the Raiders start acting confused after he lights them up, someone should politely remind them, you had 4 chances. You blew all 4. Like, comment, and subscribe.